Hello and welcome to Fresh Faced One Shots. My name is Joey,
And I'm Jacob.
and today we are back with, we're back with X-Men Hunt, the X-Men event of March. This is X-Men that we're technically back with on One Shots because we've covered X-Men issues on One Shots before for the Raid on Greymalkin event. But now we're back with X-Men by Jed MacKay with issue number 13. And man, I love this cover. Maybe I just love seeing Scott Summers dead, but I don't know. Is something wrong with me? It's nice. Also Storm, and that's great. This is a direct continuation of our last issue of X-Men Hunt, though, with Storm number 6, which, if you didn't see our video on that, we absolutely loved. But yeah, this is a direct continuation of that, more from the perspective of our X-Men written by Jed MacKay. So here, let's jump right into it. This is X-Men Hunt Part 4. So, picking up quite literally, it looks like an exact replication of one of the pages from the end of Storm number 6, which is kind of cool. I like that. We do have Nitho Diaz on the art in this one, and you were talking to me a little bit before we recorded this, like Diaz's art, and I think also specifically the inks by Sean Parsons really make this issue shine. I really love some of the art throughout this one. Specifically when we get to some of the mind battles between.
It gets fascinating. Fascinating, interesting, and beautiful, and we kind of mentioned it maybe because of the event, but this is actually a really good issue. Like
it is. It's a good issue of a series that I dropped, unfortunately. But it's a good issue.
As soon as you dropped it, it seems to have possibly picked itself back up.
Here's the thing, oddly enough, despite the fact that we were dreading it, I'm actually really enjoying this event so far. There's only one issue I haven't liked so far, and I would say this is pretty well worth it. I'm still annoyed by the fact that it's all releasing in 1 month, but honestly, just the content of the event itself, I'm really enjoying this, actually. It's a good time. We have Xavier here, being as powerful as he is, controlling Beast and having a mental battle with Quentin Quire, who I still find insufferable, but I did love his scenes in this. I
mean, his scenes. You can see where the insufferability comes from, and that makes it almost easier to read and easier to swallow, which
I suppose
might be the problem with jumping into a character like this and not having that backstory.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I will also say something that I hadn't picked up on last issue, and I'm not sure if you did either, is that Xavier's totally mind controlling Storm here. I didn't really put that together last issue, but he's sort of subtly controlling her and making her more aggressive towards the other X-Men to defend him. I find that really interesting. Still cool. I still love her. But yeah, she's totally being mind controlled here. I love I love her fighting off Juggernaut here, just a direct continuation of last issue's battle between them.
And partially because Jed MacKay kind of needs something for Storm to do.
Yeah.
MacKay's clearly, and I'd argue rightly so, interested in exploring his own team's feelings about Xavier and dealing with this.
Mm-hmm. I am really sad, actually, that Magneto only gets one scene in this, and it's not even something focusing on his relationship with Xavier at all. It's just
it's a gag. It's a gag.
It's a scene where Magic comes in and steals his helmet, which is a funny little scene, and I do like that. But it's just her grabbing it, putting it on Beast, so Beast is freed from Xavier's mind control, and so that's all that is.
As much as I'd love more, I feel like if you did more with Magneto in this issue, you'd have a messy issue.
This thing issue, and something that I think MacKay actually does do a pretty good job with is kind of knowing his boundaries on a crossover issue, unlike certain other tie-in issues to this event, or really just one, but previous video. Anyway, or not the Storm video, the video before that. But yeah, we have our mind battle between Xavier and Quentin here. I really enjoyed this. How they're sort of on the same level as on a power level as mutants. So Xavier theorizes, well, what it would actually come down to is past experience, and I clearly have more than you. And Xavier's just a straight up villain here. I really love it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's funny. He's a villain versus kind of a villainous X-Men team.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But obviously, we've shifted perspective to the actual X-Men book. They're now in the protagonist seat, so they are now in a more sympathetic light, which is interesting. I also really, really like the insight into Quentin Quire as a character. This insight of how terrified he is of conformity and this whole this very because in the mind battle, it's at, Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, except it's renamed in the establishing shot the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning, which just has this infinitely more sinister feel to it.
Oh yeah.
It's a great way to actually explore who these characters are. Something that I kind of wish had happened when we did the crossover a little better with
in Raid on Greymalkin.
In Raid on Greymalkin, yes.
Yeah, that's fair. But
I keep wanting to say Escape from Greymalkin.
It sounds like it should be Escape from Greymalkin.
Even though it's not. There was no there was an Escape. Go watch our videos on those. We had a fun time with those.
We did have a fun time. But on Xavier being a straight up villain, I commented on this sort of back in our NYX video, and it's kind of weird with NYX sort of being the only issue that really tried to take Xavier and say he's actually is showing any sort of remorse for his past mistakes, where every other issue in this event so far is showing Xavier as a straight up bad guy. And it kind of makes me not like that NYX issue even more, unfortunately. And there is Storm as well, but because we were showing it from the perspective of Storm being such close friends with Charles, and also now reframing it in this issue as him doing something to her mind as well, I think I much more understand where Aurora is coming from as a character throughout that, and why it still works here, and also why NYX didn't work. It's a problem. Anyway. I had a great fight scene here as the other X-Men try to free Storm. Storm is ridiculously powerful. Surprise, surprise. So essentially, what this comes down to is defeating Xavier in his mind battle with Quentin Quire. And also, I think it's worth noting. I don't know if this has anything to do with anything. I don't know if Jed MacKay was thinking about this in particular, but I think probably the most popular thing to happen with the X-Men IP in recent years happened last year with Deadpool and Wolverine. And we have here Cassandra Nova and a big reference to the Logan.
I was going to say, the panel itself is clearly a reference to the scene from Deadpool and Wolverine that's been plastered all over the internet a bunch, even though I have not seen that film. Well, but it's also, I feel like it's also referencing things that Quentin Quire has done as a character in the past, genuinely probably in previous X books.
Yeah, probably. I'm not super familiar with the character, but also I wouldn't be I don't know. I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there's at least there's probably some sort of connection between that and this. If not, I'd be extremely surprised.
At the very least, it's the framing of the art is a reference.
Yeah, exactly. So we're able to mentally defeat Charles Xavier, thus freeing Storm from Charles's connection by putting the helmet on Charles here.
I like the acknowledgement that this X-Men team are monsters.
Oh yeah, they're bad guys
from themselves. Well, from themselves, it's they know they're monsters, which makes it kind of different. And. Yeah, but we slip Magneto's helmet on Xavier.
We free Storm. We end our battle with Quentin, and as we have Charles here finally, and Scott finally comes to, we are brought face to face with our cliffhanger of the issue, which is that surprise, surprise, our next issue is X Factor. So we're talking X Factor next video. So that's what's happening. The X Factor team shows up, and that's where the issue ends. So
it's a big dun dun dun
dun dun dun. Look at Angel and all these other characters I don't know. Actually, no Pyro, but otherwise all these characters I don't know.
I was gonna say some of these characters you don't.
But still, a good issue, very good issue, and also again, I'm genuinely shocked by how much I'm actually enjoying this event.
I thought it was gonna be more impenetrable than it is.
The
only thing that's been the most impenetrable is NYX, which is a damn shame because NYX seems to be the scrappiest team, and the team least well established, when it may also be the team with the most going for it in terms of story potential.
But also, of course, there's the problem that we talked about in the NYX issue of like those NYX characters not having a ton of history with Charles, as many of our other teams and characters do that the event is focusing on, which is why I'm actually also a little worried for the X-Force issue coming up next week. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But actually, we do have one more video coming up because 2 issues came out this week: X-Men, and we have X Factor number 8 coming up next. So our video on that this is out on Friday, so that'll be out on Sunday. But also check out other Fresh Face one shots we do. See how I did that transition. We cover Superman by Joshua Williamson, Wonder Woman by Tom King, Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, the end of the Long Halloween saga. We usually cover The Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone, which is the whole reason we're covering X-Manhunt throughout the month of March. I'm hoping that we have more connections to Uncanny. If not, I'm going to be kind of sad, but also the fact that I'm enjoying this event makes it kind of worth it at least. So. Also check out the main podcast, Fresh Face Comics. We just recently put out, speaking of Gail Simone, we recently put an episode on the first 2 volumes of Gail Simone's Batgirl run from the New 52. Next up on Fresh Face Comics, we have an episode on Batman R.I.P. coming up, that famous Batman Grant Morrison story. It's fantastic. Hot take, Batman R.I.P. good. Also check out our link trees. Our socials and everything will be in the description below. You can follow us wherever you want to follow us. Subscribe to the channel, Blood Donut Studios. Any and all support means the world to us. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.